Hi, Caleb with Brownells here, back again with Josh from Radian, and today we're going to be talking about the Guardian, not the one starring Ashton Kutcher. We're going to be talking about the one that's a Guardian for your Optic. So, Josh, thanks for coming back out.
Yeah.
And so, take us through it. I've seen the Guardian before. Some of you may have seen it. Take us through what it actually is, high level view, and then we'll get into the details.
Yeah, so at the base, it's an optic mounting plate system that actually has different functionality, much stronger, prevents moisture from getting into your threads or up into your optic on an RMR. No need for a sealing plate. That's all just the starting point as far as the base of it. And then beyond that, there's the guard that's in front of the optic, and that allows for any impacts to the front to go right into the guard and not your optic. And the guard is wider and taller than the optic, so if you ever have any side or top impacts, the Guardian takes a hit there instead of the optic itself.
Yeah, that's awesome. So looking at it, you know, it's you can kind of still see exposed optic, but the way it's designed, you'd have to drop it kind of weird for it to
Yeah,
hit the Guardian.
you could hit the back of the optic, like these that are not a closed emitter. There's no glass in the back, so it would not cause a fracture of the glass, because the front cannot hit the ground at all.
Okay, yeah, and looking at this, it actually looks like it acts like a sealing plate.
Yeah, so the screws that mount the optic to the slide actually have an O-ring on them, and these are custom machined in-house. So they have to have a little O-ring groove in them and a precision diameter in the plate that causes it to seal against the screw, the plate, and the slide surface. So we've got three surfaces that the O-ring seals against, all engineered into that. Again, moisture can't get down into your threads to cause corrosion, and moisture can't come underneath and up under your optic. So there's no need for a sealing plate on optics that normally require that, like the RMR. So another feature of our stud lock system is that the nuts have a patent pending self-locking thread system. So there's no need for Loctite or any thread locker. You just torque them down to spec and they hold up and they never back out. All the fasteners are made from 17.4, machined in-house and heat treated in-house as well, and then have a nitride finish.
Okay, so let's say I do drop my gun, because I'm negligent, just because I'm trying to be super tactical, right? So I drop my gun. The Guardian takes an impact. Where's that force being transferred? It's not into the screws, right? Looking at the way it mounts.
Yeah, that was another feature of our design on the plate itself, is that we have it to where when you sit this on the optic cut, the MOS optic cut, and you tighten the flathead screws that have the 82-degree countersink, it actually forces the back of the plate against the slide cut. So it's already in full contact once it's seated, before you even mount the optic.
Awesome. So
any impact to the front transfers that force right into the slide, and no shear forces onto the mounting screws.
Awesome. But yeah, that's, I mean, perfect. So talking about finish here, looks like a nitride.
Well, actually, the Guardian is made of 70-75 aluminum.
Oh, okay.
Versus steel, and that's hard anodized. But the reason we can do that is because of the stud lock interface. So normally you have threads drilled and tapped into a plate, and so you just have the plate thickness for your thread engagement, which is actually about 100 thousandths of an inch on an MOS plate, which is very little thread engagement for the thread. So our system has a stud with a head on it that comes up through the bottom, and then there's a nut actually that is called a sleeve nut. It slips into the optic and over the thread, and so we have over twice the thread engagement, twice the thread length of a normal thread engagement of the plate thickness.
Yeah.
So it's much stronger interface there as well.
Awesome. Yeah, that's
and because we can make the plate now out of a 70-75 aluminum, because the threads now are not in the plate, the entire system with all the parts is about 90% of the weight of an MOS plate.
Awesome.
A steel MOS plate.
Yeah. That's
So you're not adding a bunch of mass to the, even though it looks bigger and it is physically larger, you're not adding any extra mass to the slide assembly with your optic.
Right. So looking at this here and now knowing that it's aluminum, this isn't one solid piece. So the actual like front cover looks like it's
so that took some real engineering there. That is actually a T-slot interface.
Okay.
And it's a press fit in every direction. So the thickness, the width of the neck, the head, some really precision machining there to achieve that. So it's a press fit, and we tested it. We put force gauges on this to see how much force it could bear, and it's pretty phenomenal. I think it was about 80 pounds of force before it even flexes back and touches.
Oh wow.
The optic. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. So, and the reason being doing that because that's actually a stronger joint because this is billet aluminum than just machining a straight 90-degree angle, right?
We haven't done the finite element analysis on that, to be honest, but that was the only practical way to manufacture it.
Okay.
If that had to be machined out of one solid piece, you have this back undercut angle, and the price would have got out of control.
Right. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah. So it was an engineering solution to a manufacturing problem.
Gotcha. Yeah. That's what we like to hear for sure. So looking at some of the accessories this thing comes with, so there's a dovetail slot filler, right? I can see that here. I'll just kind of pick this one up and show the camera. But it fills your rear dovetail slot because looks like you have some backups.
Yeah, we have backup rear that, again, the backup sights are an option. Most people are actually ordering the whole set. So you can just get the Guardian, run your regular irons if you'd like. But there's a real advantage to having irons forward with the rear sight. So it's mounted actually in the Guardian frame.
Yep. It's
about a lower 1/7 co-witness. I mean, so it's really low, just there if you need it. It's definitely usable when and if you need it. And then with that sight forward, your eye isn't distracted to focus to the rear and have a rear sight, that's behind the optic. So so that's an option that actually about 80% of the people that purchase are buying it with the sight. So it comes with the front sight, the rear that mounts in the guard,
yep,
and the dovetail cover to fill in the empty dovetail once you remove your stock sight.
Sure. Yeah, because that's one of those like quality of life kind of cosmetic things, I think, because I just hate having an empty dovetail.
Oh, me too. Yeah, drive me nuts.
And like, if sometimes I like to get crazy and paint guns, so the Gucciest thing to do would be to put that dovetail in and paint over it so that it looks even more seamless.
Yeah.
So I mean that's what I mean you don't have to do that. That's just what I would do. So let's talk about footprints. What are these available in? Obviously it's way more than last time I checked. So
yeah, we've added quite a few models. So I'll just start from left to right here. At least from my perspective, left to right. This is the new 407/507 Guardian for the Holosun, 407/507. And this is also Holosun, the 507 Comp, the competition, the big window version.
Yep.
The RMR version is the one we launched initially. So that's here. And we've had the EPS out for a little bit.
Sure.
That was our second model. And then the new one, that was a bit different because the mounting system is the Trijicon RCR.
Yeah, so that with those capstan screws, that one must be pretty interesting.
It's a little different. So on the side here, it uses the same system where the threaded male stud coming up from the bottom, but instead of feeding it up through a hole before you mount it to the gun, you can actually slide it in.
Oh, I see that. Okay, yeah.
So it makes assembly even easier than with their screws because you can just get it just to the height that just barely clears, slip it in, and just tighten it instead of having to monkey with the wrench.
Yeah.
All the way down on both sides.
Yep, yeah, that makes sense. So all for Glock MOS.
Glock MOS. We have a couple models. I think it's the EPS and the RMR for the Walther PDP series as well.
Okay.
We'll probably be adding a couple more models, but this is the main focus, was getting these new models for the MOS out this year. So.
All right. Well, great. So that's the Guardian from Radian. So in future videos, I know there's some other Radian products on here. I know you're looking at those comps, right, and those barrels. We'll get into that in a future video. So with that being said, thanks for joining us, Josh. Thanks for sharing with us. Awesome to have all the information right from the guy who knows it all. So that's perfect.
Yeah,
it's good for me. It's good for them. So if you have any questions or comments, if you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button. If you're watching this on YouTube, of course, if you're watching this on the website, need help with anything, feel free to give us a call on the tech line. We'll be happy to help you out. And as always, you can also call Radian Weapons. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.